Hello, beautiful and powerful women. Welcome to Susan Unleashed. This podcast is for any woman who wants to live a gorgeous life on her terms and who knows that not only is being a woman enough, it is the key to everything. I'm your host, Susan Elizabeth, certified professional coach, #1 best-selling author, and Energy Leadership Index master practitioner. I fiercely support women who are passionate about elevating their lives while embracing their truest selves. Are you ready to unleash your power? Hello, beautiful and powerful women. I want to welcome you to this week's episode, which is all about reconnecting with your sensuality. Ooh, I love this word, and it is the most misunderstood word out there. I really believe that. So we're going to talk about that today. So I want to start with a quote, and it goes like this. Passion is the essence of sensual living. Oh yeah, that feels good. So again, sensuality, reconnecting with this. I like to say, ooh la la, this is a ripe topic. I love, love, love this one. And I always like to think of the ripeness. You know, when you think of a peach or a plum that's on a tree and it grows to its fullest, this fullest expression of itself, it's the juiciest and most flavorful version of itself, and it's ready to be picked and enjoyed. And and I just love that image. So I want to talk a little bit about sensuality. So sensuality is defined as many, many things. But here's my definition of sensuality. It's relating to or involving gratification of the senses and pleasure. That's what sensual means. So again, I think it's one of the most misunderstood words because people tie it right to sexuality. And there can be aspects of it that are in and headed in that direction. But really, sensuality is all about being present. It's about being intentional. It's about feeling. It's about living in and with all of your senses. The visual, the sight, the sound, the taste, the touch, the smell, all of that. It's really about the awareness of all of that and living in that state. If you want to learn how to live a ripe, wild, and fierce life, make sure that you check out my new course. When you're finished with the podcast, the link is in the show notes, so head on over to the link and check it out there. It's that conscious, intentional place within you that's tied to that awareness. It's also pleasure. And pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. We as women are wired for pleasure. And so when we can live in a state of designing in our lives pleasure daily, whether it's that little piece of chocolate, the morning cup of coffee, the afternoon cup of coffee or espresso or tea, and just enjoying that, it's tied to the sensuality because you're experiencing your senses and you're in the moment and you're aware. It's also the breath. I remember when I was out in Sedona and I took a class on breath work. And I know there's books been written on it. There's classes that have been taught on it. But I think the breath is so powerful because really breath is life. If you don't have breath, you don't have life. And it's your breath. It's what my husband calls, it's live the moment. It's being in the moment. It's breathing. And I know even for me, when I took this class out in Sedona, it was all about breath work and learning. I had to learn how to truly believe, like come, breathe in the nose, let your diaphragm, fill up with air, breathe out. And then learning how to breathe through different nostrils. I've done some breath work with a yogic master in learning how to do different breathing. And it can really shift your whole state of being and just the power of breathing in and the sensualness to breathing is just, it's life-giving. And it's that momentness. That's just that being in the moment and living the moment. I think it's sitting right where you are and noticing who you're with, what's around you. And it's that what are you enjoying and what's pleasing to you? I also think it's a natural type of elegance where sensuality is, it's your senses that are heightened, they're aware, you're living in your senses. But it's this natural place, it's this natural elegance that I think just starts coming out of you, because think of it, when you're living in your pleasure and you're living in your senses, which is your sensuality, senses, sensuality. I'm a little stuffy today. It's really about your ability to have that. It's the ability that it exudes out of you. How can it not? Think about that. If you're really living in your senses and having pleasure, it's what's inside comes out of you. And why it just, and you want it to come out. And it's living that ripe, wild and fierce place, that ripe place of you, in you. It's that ability. It's living fully and just fully that's the name of this podcast, Susan Unleashed. It is fully unleashing your true self to live who you are as a woman, ripe and sensual. And let me tell you, that will draw in and that will attract in beautiful things to your life. And have that discernment, ladies. Come on now, have the discernment. Only what will fit you as a high value woman. Only allow that to come into your life. So it's that sensuality is a place within us that gives access to those parts of us. It gives access to our true selves in this life. And it gives access to our true passions and who we truly, truly are. And it gives access to our true desires. And really living from a space of desire is what drives me. I know when I want something and I desire something, I am so passionate about having that because I know it will bring me pleasure. And it's good for me and it's healthy for me. So I do that. And again, we are wired for pleasure and sensuality and passion and living a sensual life. This is who we are. And I also want to say this. So it's the ability to be confident and to source from our innate power within inside of us. The sensuality, the sensual living and reconnecting to this place. It's that exciting place. It's interesting. It's the ability to be interesting and interested in those places within inside you that bring you this joy and this delight and this pleasure and this passion and this indulgence, this ripeness. And it's confident being the exciting and passionate woman that you truly, truly are. And then owning that, all of that. And making time and space for that in your life. And I want to further that by saying it is wearing that sultry outfit. It is wearing what pleases you. It's the red nails and the red lipstick. It's because you wanted to. It's ordering that thing on the menu that is the most expensive thing on the menu. That's living in your sensual place because you know that you want it and it will bring you so much pleasure to have that and you really desire that. It's living in that desire. It's the way that you walk into a room. It's that sauntering, but it's that sensualness because you're so connected to yourself and your desires and your passion, and you know what pleases you and you're ready for it. And it's walking in and it's charming the room. It's charming the heck out of everything around you. It's the way that you hold yourself. It's the way that you're being. It's the words you speak, but it's also the words that you don't speak. That's the sensuality. It's the air and the mystery that you create around yourself. And I love how Giorgio Armani also puts it. He talks about elegance, but I think this could be tied to sensuality. And he said, elegance isn't about being noticed. It's about being remembered. But I think it's both. I think sensuality is also about being noticed and discovered, but most importantly, it's about being remembered. It's the perfume you wear. It's noticed, but then it also creates a memory, and it's the way you're remembered. It's your signature scent. Love perfume. So I say it's both. It's about being noticed, but not in a way that's overt. It's this beautiful, mysterious, sensuous way and sensual way, but it's about being remembered. Ooh, love that. And so it's like the little things. It's the little things like being present in the moment, to notice your child's eyes and smile just lighting you up. It's noticing your partner's gaze. We all notice, like I even think of baking and I think of cooking, and it's noticing like the chocolate chip cookies or the bread or the coffee brewing. And that's like an obvious one, but it's noticing the wildflower outside being who that she fully is, that little wildflower growing out in your garden, and it's shining in its full glory, and it's enjoying the rain and the sun. And you might think it's a weed, but that's just a judgment. But it's just this being state. It's this sensual state, just being fully who you are, and then being in the senses to take it all and absorb it all, what is around you, the sunshine, the rain, the nourishment from the soil, right? So kind of a metaphor there. I want to say that it's not just the noticing and living in the senses, the taste, the texture of the food, the visual texture of the food, the smell. It's all of that from food. But it's beyond that. It's smelling the flowers. That is like where perfumes come from. It's outside. It's bringing nature into you. It's having fresh flowers around you. That is, to me, so sensual. I have fresh flowers everywhere in my house, and I have them every week. My gardens are loaded with fresh flowers. And flowers, annuals and perennials, in addition to gorgeous trees. I need to be around beauty and nature. To me, it reconnects me with myself, because we are all of the earth. And I just love the way flowers make me feel. It's beauty, and I appreciate beauty so much, and I love to be around beauty. It's just an incredible, incredible feeling. And I also want to say sensuality it's purples and pinks and reds. And it's deep, smoky, mysterious. And let me ask you this. If you were sensual and sensual was a color, what color would you be? Like, I think I would be like this deep, rich, purpley with a little bit of a red tone to it. And it would have a little bit of lace, and it would definitely have that deep red lipstick and red nails that I so love. And it's if sensuality, and you're really connected to it, if you were a drink, what would you be? I'm having so much fun. Okay, so I would be a Kir Royale. So I would be champagne with a little bit of liqueur in it, and it turns the champagne red. I first learned of Kir Royales when I was living in Paris, and I love champagne, and this little bit of a sweetness, because I usually like a dry champagne, like a brut, but it was a Kir Royale, and I just would sit and enjoy the moment in my beautiful Kir Royale drink, and the people and the places and the weather and the sights and the sounds that were all around here. and around me. See, I'm already back there. When I say around here, like I'm there in my mind. I've been there. I'm there, sitting in the cafes, enjoying an espresso, enjoying a Kir Royale, enjoying a beautiful little pastry and croissant. So my point here is anything that you do that can be sensual is an act, and an act of love for yourself, an act of love for life and for your life, right? And what are you passionate about? So it's that moment in time. It's the way that you're being. It's the organization in your closet. It's how you go about organizing your food in your pantry. It's in your cupboards, your refrigerator. It's the way you're living life, the way you're doing life. It's the small things that create our lives. It's living in the moment, living in our pleasure, our desires, and living in the sensual, that sensuality, the senses. It's living your life by joie de vivre. That's really what it's all about. It's living that way. So let me ask you, what does sensuality really mean for you? And how are you allowing sensuality to show up in your life? And it could be in the evenings, in your own home, in a romantic love affair, a torrid love affair with your husband or your partner. It's all that. But it's also, what are you longing for? What makes you feel good? How do you spend your time? How do you live in your senses enjoying a meal? If you want to learn how to live a ripe, wild, and fierce lifestyle, make sure to check out my new course. It's in the show notes, so when you are finished with the podcast, head on over to the show notes and click on the link. How are you living your life with how you're... I guess I want to say what kind of perfume? Even as far as the perfume and the flowers around you, like it's that scent and that beauty, living in that scent and the senses of this of the smell, which is so powerful. And how are you carving out time daily or weekly to have sensuality in your life? Because if you've really, really tried sensuality, if you've really lived in sensuality, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's that bakery item and enjoying the bakery item. It's going for that swim. It's moving your body in a dance lesson. It's practicing that yoga pose and being in the flow and the ease. It's so elegant and so beautiful and so sensual. I want to ask you, what would you delight in? And how would you like to live your life as a sensual woman? And how are you going to really commit to that and to do that in your life? Because when you go do that, you're going to gain evidence for this in your life. And by living and being in a sensual state, it's really going to elevate your life. So I want to come back to the quote that I said at the beginning, that passion, like true passion, is the essence of sensual living. So what are you passionate about? What are you feeling sensual about? It's relating to or involving that gratification of the senses and pleasure. So go live that, ladies. Go carve that out in your life. Make it happen. And then I want to hear all about it. Okay, that's it for this week. I want you to go out and live in your senses and live a life ripe with pleasure. And in your senses, I want you to reconnect and reclaim and really reconnect into that sensuality for yourself. That's it. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you would leave me a review or share it with someone else who may enjoy it too. To stay connected with me, please head on over to SusanElizabethCoaching.com and make sure that you sign up for my tips on how to live an unleashed life full of passion and purpose. Until next time, go live an unleashed life.